We're live. I'm gonna let Kathryn Le Veque start us off, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a really exciting thing. You know, Dragonblade is just growing by leaps and bounds, and we do live videos frequently with just one author, like for a release, for example. But something like this, kind of a little roundtable forum, is brand new for us. It's a brand new format, and it's just it's very exciting for us to get out there, especially to our readers. And I just want to say a few words about Dragonblade. Since this is our kickoff video here, I'm just going to say a few quick words about this. Actually, Chasity, Alexa, and Anna have been with me pretty much since the beginning, since Dragonblade first started. I think they were some of our very first authors to bring on. And that makes this just so much more appropriate, because they were with us from the beginning. They've really helped us grow, helped us become such a big small press. I mean, that sounds like a paradox right there, but they really have. And I just have the most incredible respect for all of them. And Anna and I actually go back even further than that. I mean, we started doing box sets together way back when I first started, basically. But just quickly, Dragonblade Publishing came about actually in 2012. It was my personal imprint when I first started. In 2016, I took on our first authors, because I had one of them approach me and say, "Hey, would you mind publishing me?" I mean, that was really the question. I thought, why not? You know, I mean, I'm already publishing myself, so why not take on an author or two? And 67 authors later, here we are. So thank you so much for you, our loyal readership. Without you, there is no us. So we are really, really excited to have you here today. And I am going to stop talking and pass this back to Evelyn, our fabulous marketing manager.
Hi. Well, I'm so glad to do this today, and I hope you've got lunch or coffee or something good beside you while we talk. I'd like to start just by introducing our authors. We'll do it one at a time. They've all got releases this week with Dragonblade of fabulous books that will take you through the weekend and beyond. And when we're done, I'll post in the comment section so you know exactly how to grab them. But we're going to start with Alexa Aston, who is the author. Discouraging the Duke is her book that came out this week, and it's the first book in the Duke's Done Wrong, which I love. I love this series title. In the Duke's Done Wrong series, she's also the best-selling author of the Dukes of Distinction series. So, Alexa, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
I will. Dukes of Distinction is my current series, and then today was the release of the first Dukes Done Wrong book. These are 5 Dukes that as boys, they were accused of something horrible and sent away to a school and banished from their families. And so they created their own family among these 5 boys. And so that's just the overview of the series. As far as Discouraging the Duke goes, we have a reluctant Army officer who never thought he would be a Duke, and now he is one, and he knows nothing about being a Duke. And interestingly enough, his estate manager is a woman, which is very unusual for those times. And he falls pretty hard for her and tries to convince her that they are meant to be.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your inspiration was behind this series?
I just love Dukes. And I think a lot of readers out there do too. And I've written other people. I mean, I've written medieval knights, I've written Hollywood heroes, I've written my fair share of viscounts and earls and marquises. But I think there's just something about Dukes that people love. And I have to thank Julia Quinn and Netflix and Shonda Rhimes for kind of helping people become aware of this beautiful historical romance genre, and Regency in particular. And I think part of it is the Bridgerton effect. I think some of our sales are really expanding because of the awareness that she and Netflix have brought to this. So I just decided, after I did the 5 Dukes in Dukes of Distinction, I'm just going to go for 5 more Dukes and see what I can do. So
you can never have too many Dukes. I know you were a school teacher. It is a great title. I know you were a school teacher before you started writing full time. Can you talk a little bit about the research that you do to get ready to write your books, and how you figure out the historical accuracies and things?
Okay. I did teach history for 30 years, and I absolutely loved English history. In college, I took 4 English history courses. I feel like in a former life, I was English. The only time I've been to England, I felt like I knew my way around. And I'm someone who, I don't know left from right or up from down and north from south, but we would be crossing streets and I would tell Mr. Aston, oh, it's this way. Oh, we need to do this. He's just kind of looking at me like, really? You know this? And also, maybe in a former life, I was English. Because I was a history teacher, one of the aspects I do enjoy in my writing is the research, whether I'm researching a battle, customs and manners of the time, fashion, that kind of thing. I'm a member of the Beaumont group online, and they offer a lot of classes that you can take. I just finished one this past month on Regency London. And it went into everything from how houses were laid out to the food served, the clothing people wore, holidays, the museums, the parks people went to. So I do a lot of research about just the Regency period. And then I pull bits and pieces from that research for each book. So I may have, take a week's worth of research and then use that over the next 20 books, just sprinkling it here and there. But I like to let readers have a flavor of the period. I don't want to preach to them, so I don't have long paragraphs that, go into too many details, but I want to give them that flavor of the era.
Do you have a favorite detail that has stuck out, something that we wouldn't know about the way they lived during the Regency period?
Maybe just that upstairs, downstairs kind of thing. I don't know if anybody remembers that old miniseries that was on PBS and all. And I just like, the class distinction, and then, the titles, make sure that you refer to the titles really well. Those Regency readers, they will call you on anything. They are experts. They know exactly what should be done and how it's going to be, how things unfold and everything. They know all about Gunters. They know all about Hyde Park and 5 to 6 is the time to be there and be seen. So, I try to make sure that I give them those details and stay as accurate as possible.
That sounds good. Let's move on to Chasity. Her book, Sleepless in Southampton, is book 4 in the Hellions Club. And the covers on all the Dragonblade books are gorgeous. But I really, really love the cover of Sleepless in Southampton. Chasity, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Essentially, Sleepless in Southampton is the long-awaited 4th book in this series. My life is crazy.
Babies will do that.
They do. Oh, they do. But essentially, I kind of played with this notion of when you're in a position where everything in your life has to go wrong so that the one thing you need most can go right. I like to torture my heroes and heroines a little bit that way. So it's kind of, to a point, a comedy of errors. There's a lot of turmoil to get these people to a point where they can have a happily ever after, but I think it's worth it. And I think it plays really well in the Regency genre to have that kind of farcical setup.
How did you come up with the idea of the Hellion Club? Can you tell us a little bit about the setup for that since this is book 4 in the series?
I'm going to be honest. I don't even remember, but I'm lucky if I know my own name right now. And that was a really long time ago, to be fair. I just had this notion of, we talk about illegitimate children in the Regency era were a thing, but they weren't necessarily always hidden away. There were a lot of people of distinction of that era who did actually acknowledge their children and provide for them in a way. And so I thought, having this school where people could take their illegitimate daughters, which obviously was a more complicated prospect than an illegitimate son who, you could put him in the military, you could put him in the clergy, you could let him go into law. But what do you do with daughters? So that's where the Darrow School / Hellion Club kind of came into play. This is how people would either get their daughters educated in a way that they would be able to marry, or educated so that they could be governesses and support themselves.
I love that. I love that setup. I love the idea of figuring out where these people that would not necessarily fit comfortably into society, where they end up fitting. So I love that idea. Can you talk a little bit about the characters in this book? About your hero and heroine?
I used to write all bad boys, and then I got married, and I realized bad boys. Who doesn't love those? Well, you know, you love them a lot when you're younger. The older you get, the less appealing they are. Oh, they're steady. But I like to write good men. I like to write honorable characters that don't necessarily need a whole lot of redeeming. In fact, sometimes they need somebody to help them unredeem themselves a little bit. And I like the fact that these people learn how to have fun through the course of this book, that they kind of bring that out in one another when they both might be a little too well behaved independently. So,
what's the name of the heroine of this series?
Her name is Sophie Upchurch.
Sophie's such a great name.
Henry, Lord Meredith, he's just perfect. I just love him. I just love him. I can't help it.
Well, I think you're supposed to love him. It's easier for us to love him if you love him first.
Well, I'm going to be honest. By the time I get to the end of a book, I usually hate my characters. I'm screaming at them, and my husband's just rolling his eyes at me the whole time. So that's what you do when I'm not a plotter. I'm a full-on pantser. I never know what's going to happen. And by the time I get to the end of the book, I'm like, I don't even like these people. So
sometimes I do the same thing. I get to the end of the book, and I cannot wait to get away from them.
They won't shut up.
I'm so done with you. Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to Anna. Her series is Earls Are Wild, and if you can't have a Duke and Earl is like just as good. And the book that released this week is A Wild Earl Chase, which I think is a great title. Anna, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Nice to participate in this this first. It's exciting. I'm glad it's all technologically working correctly, apparently. Yeah, this is the second book in a Regency series, and you know, most of people who know me know that most of my background has been in medieval romance and Highlander romance, pirate romance. To be honest, I like the challenge of a new era, and so I was pleased when Kat suggested, you know, why don't you try Regency? And I kind of jumped into it. One of the main motivations for it was that I wanted to focus the setting. I wanted to shift the whole setting away from the London Regency scene. And I wanted to focus on the county that I was born in, which is Lancashire. And of the 60 plus books that I've published, I've never set one in Lancashire before. So I figured it was about time I did that, and so the setting of the first and second books are in the north of England, in the northwest of England, anyway. And I really enjoyed using some of the place names, you know, from my childhood, and it made it very, very personal for me writing this story.
Oh, that's exciting. Can you talk a little bit about your hero for this book?
Yes, actually, he's not very attractive in the beginning of the book. He's a Raquel who considers that women are, you know, only useful to use as mistresses, and he's moved away from the north and begun kind of a dissolute life in the south in London, and as the story develops, and I'm happy to hear that other writers listen to their characters, because to be honest, I'm a pantser too, and I like to let the characters tell their own story. In fact, when I get bogged down in trying to make it up for them, this is where it doesn't work. So it turns out that he's trying to hide a lot of pain in his past from a tragic event in his past, and this is one of the reasons for his behavior. And his heroine, Lady Susan Crompton, actually appears in the first book of the series. Every Earl Has a Silver Lining.
Oh,
and
nice to meet.
So this is her story now, that she's a blue stocking in every sense of the word. She's been kicked out of the family home by her father, the late Earl, because she refuses to just be a woman who'll plan menus and get married. And so she's appalled by the behavior that she sees in this dissolute Earl. And so we have a blue stocking and a rake hell who get together and clash, because and it's all based on,
of course they do.
Yeah, sparks will fly, as they say. And the historical setting for it is, of course, the heavy and rapid industrialization of Lancashire, and the beginning of the cotton trade, which threw a lot of weavers out of work. And so that's the basis for the social background to the story.
That's really interesting. I love the titles of your other series are, and this series too, are charming and just such a nice play on words. Is there a way that you came to your titles? They're
Earls Are Wild is the word Earl, like every Earl has a silver lining. I just substituted the word Earl into common idiomatic expressions. And so instead of Wild Goose Chase, this one is Wild Earl Chase. And the third book is Slow and Steady Wins the Earl. And the focus of that book kind of shifts more to London, as one of the characters who, as a child in this book, she's all grown up and promised a London season. So it kind of shifts back and forth in the third book.
I love it when books connect like that, and you can fall in love with the character and then see them over and over again throughout the series. It gives you a chance to be attached to them for longer than just for the one book. So. Yeah,
I tend to do that in my stories. A lot of my other stories are successive generations of families. The only problem with that is you always have to kill somebody off. Talk about the next generation, you got to have somebody die off. And it's hard to let some of those characters go.
Well, it happens. Needs must. Can we talk a little bit about how you ladies write, about the things that you like to have in place? Do you write in the same place every day? Are the books the same? Are you coffee drinkers, tea drinkers? Are there things that you have to have? What would we as readers not know about what it's like to sit down and actually write a book? Go start. I'm going to just pick. Go ahead, Chasity.
I have Spotify playlists for every book that I write. The lyrics of the songs don't necessarily have to correspond to the story, but the mood that particular music sets has to correspond to it. Like for Sleepless in Southampton, it was all, early 80s pop songs with that nice, my husband's walking by in the background. So it's all early 80s pop songs, so very upbeat, very fast-paced, good tempo to kind of keep that witty banter and everything going throughout. It just varies book by book. And we've discussed already, I've recently had to give up all caffeine, so my life is a little sad and dreary right now without it. I'm working on it. I'm getting there.
But there's so many herbal teas, so maybe you can find something that...
There are. I love diet soda. I can deal with specific diet sodas, but finding caffeine-free diet sodas are kind of difficult. Diet root beer. It's my go-to. So
you're writing around a baby too. I mean, husbands are really good hero fodder, or can be really good hero fodder, but you're also trying to write around a small child's schedule too.
we're really lucky, and he is an amazing sleeper. He goes to bed around 7 o'clock at night and sleeps until 7 o'clock the next morning. So I cannot complain about that.
I would be happy if my teenagers would do that.
My prime writing is like 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's when I get a lot of it done. So
that's great. Alexa, do you have anything specific that you need to have in place when you write?
Well, I'm the exact opposite of Chastity. I cannot have anything going, no music at all, because I have a tendency, if there's music, I want to sing along, and it pulls me out of my world. So I need it dead quiet. I mean, I don't even want a loud ceiling fan going. I walk every morning. That's just part of my process. I feel like it engages my mind when I'm moving. I'm about 75% Cancer and the other 25% plotter. And so when I walk every morning, I talk into my phone and I dictate sometimes ideas for chapters or an outline. I'll even do the chapter itself and then come home and transcribe that and tweak it as I go. Most of my writing happens in my lazy boy rocker because my knees are old and creaky and I just like to have, my feet up. So that rocker has seen many, many, many books written on it. I am a huge sparkling water fan, so I always have to have sparkling water by me when I'm writing. And then I take a tea break at 3 in the afternoon, and I have to have my herbal teas because I don't do caffeine at all. I haven't for over 20 years. So blueberry is one of my favorite. Peach, anything in the berry family, I'm happy with that. I used to have to chew gum when I wrote. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was just the action and the movement again. I'm not quite sure, but I've given that up so that I can sip on my water. And that's it. I want quiet. I've told Mr. Aston, just like you tell kids, if you have young kids when you're writing, don't come in unless you're bleeding or dying.
Or on fire.
And I clearly prefer to find your dead body when I came out for writing a chapter.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. If it's not urgent care worthy, don't knock on the door.
Exactly. But my granddaughter, she's almost 2 now, and she's come to stay before, and she'll get up and peep in, because I have French doors in the office, and she'll peep in, and it's almost like, Nana, come play with me. And so, of course, that the people have to go. The heroes and heroines, the laptop's closed. I've got to go play with her.
She's so cute.
She's adorable.
Yeah, she's adorable. She has had personality since she came out of the womb. It's really hysterical. She has a good sense of humor, and it's fun to see. And it's fun to give her back to her mom, That's always nice too. So no, I used to get upset, if we went out of town for a weekend to a wedding or something, and my parents kept my daughter. When I came back, I would be so excited to see her, and all we had done is talk about her in the car, and she didn't want to come home. She would just lock her arms around my mom and go, "I'm Nana's." So my daughter is now getting this in spades because they went on a trip for about 5 days and came home, and man, she is clinging to me and crying, and I just kind of have that little Cheshire cat grin and everything. She is. So.
Yeah, but grandparents' love is the best. So
it is.
Anna, what about you? How do you write?
I don't listen to music when I write. Where I'm working right now is actually not my full office. It's just a small, one of those secretary desks. And over the years, I've written several books at this desk. And then I moved into I commandeered a bigger office downstairs in our house. It's kind of an office-y area. And I found a lot of inspiration there in a lovely gallery that my husband set up for me with all my covers.
That's nice.
However, I got turfed out of that office when my husband hired a new person for his business. Long story short, that person's no longer with us, but I'm still here at this. Because I can walk out onto the deck just to my left here, and I also have 4 little hummingbird feeders there. So that's a distraction in and of itself, because you could spend all day watching them. The other thing that I like to have here, I don't know if you're familiar, I have my son.
Yeah, I used to have a hummingbird.
my son bought me it's called an area frame, and all my children, who by the way live over 1,000 miles away, so I haven't seen them, you know, throughout COVID. So all my children and grandchildren are all thousands of miles away. So they've been uploading pictures to this area frame, and
that's so nice.
Through all these family pictures that I'm missing so much of all of this, you know, like graduations and 21st birthdays and all of that sort of thing. So I have that right here to my right, and I can, you know, I get a lot of pleasure and inspiration from just watching those pictures scroll by. But I'm a pantser as well, as I said before, so I like to work in peace and quiet so that I can think about what my characters might you know, what my characters might do next, or what they might not do next, or what predictable thing they might do, or what unpredictable thing they might do. So I like peace and quiet for that.
So no coffee shop writers. So nobody's saying not being able to be out and where people are. And
well, it hasn't been a hardship for me to work at home because that's what I do anyway. So in some ways, I've been lucky in that regard that I have this sanctuary to work from.
Well, I'm so curious with the two of you saying that you didn't like your characters by the end. I'm sad to see my characters go, and that's why I like writing series, even though the books can read as standalones, because I like revisiting those people. I don't want to let go of them. So I thought that was hysterical that both Chasity and Kathryn said, "No, you're tired. Move on." And do you feel that same way, Anna, or do you are you like me? Are you weeping when you finish?
I become so invested in my characters. I mean, one of my characters in one of my medieval books actually drowns in the White Ship disaster of the 1121, I guess. And honestly, every time I read that passage, I cry. I mean, you know, it's just like, it was so hard to kill off that character that I get attached to them.
Yeah, you know what? I should qualify my remark. I really get attached to like my bigger series, like the Wolf Pack and all those, where I've got 15, 20 books. Because I've written about the father, the grandfather, the grandchildren. So, you know, I got these generations, you know, and I really do get attached to them. But there are some books, I will admit, that I'm so tired of these people. I just got to get it over with. But I think that also has a lot to do with deadlines and stress level more than I can't stand them. But because, you know, I write so close together that sometimes I'm like, I got to get done with this. So I think that's probably what it more has to do with.
College roommates, you are in such close proximity with them for such intense and such a short amount of time that it's like they're always in your space.
Yeah.
So it's not
I love you, but I hate you. I love you, but I hate you. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I need a break from you.
Yeah.
Give me 2 weeks and I may love you again. But right now, I need to not see you or speak to you for a while.
Exactly.
And that is so funny because my two closest friends from the time I've been 17 are my two college roommates. And here I am now, 45 years later. I mean, we still see each other. We Zoom together. We go on vacation together.
Yeah.
I really enjoy getting to know my characters. I like, you know, I enjoy seeing how they develop, and sometimes, well, more often than not, they develop in ways that I never foresaw. And it's interesting. You know?
That's the beauty of
pantsing. I like that about pantsing because it's very organic and you don't always know what's coming. Yeah. Like I said, I just do a bare outline with maybe 8 or 10 plot points. I want this, and this to happen. And how I get there, that's the adventure. You know, I want to go down the interstate, but my characters want to get off on the farm to market roads and meander. And I know eventually to, you know, steer them back and everything. But I'm like you. Sometimes they say and do things, and it just surprises me.
I read some of my stuff and I think, where the heck did I ever come up with that?
I know, I've done that. I know some authors that will actually plot all the way down to the dialogue. And I know Amy Jarecki is one of those authors. She will plot down to the dialogue. And I'm like, how can you do that? But in a sense, I always know when a book starts. I always know how it ends. It's in the middle where I pantster a little bit so I can kind of get from point A to point B. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's all about preference, but I will say this: when you plot like that, you don't run into writer's block. 9 times out of 10, you won't run into writer's block because you know where you got to go. It's when you pants that you back yourself into a corner and you go, "Oh crap, how am I going to get out of this?" You know. So there's definitely pros and cons with both.
Yeah.
I always feel like if I hit a snag in a story, if I'm at a point where it's not progressing, it's because I started trying to plot instead of letting my characters dictate what they were, who they were, and what they would do in that situation.
It all boils down to a gift, though. Some people don't have that gift. Some people, think much more analytically, and they have to really have that all mapped out. So, you're lucky. You're lucky your characters can really talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, we are out of time. This was a delight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being our first group author chat. I'm hoping that we can do this every week. Readers, if you want to get in the habit of grabbing your lunch or grabbing your morning coffee and taking a break with us on Fridays, we'll keep doing it at this time, so you can always find us here. We'll post the videos afterwards so that you can catch up if you can't catch us live. This week's books are Sleepless in Southampton, Chasity Bowlin's Helling Club book, Discouraging the Duke from Duke's Done Wrong. I keep saying Duke's Gone Wrong in my head, and I have to stop myself. Duke's Done Wrong. And Wild Earl Chase from Earls Are Wild. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for participating. This has been a treat.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.